Good morning, everybody, and a happy Tuesday to you. As I'm two-fisting it here. Welcome to Coffee with Dr. Scott. I'm going to get my water in there this morning. Question of the day today. I'm going to get right to that for a good reason. So the question of the day today is, what is the number one obstacle to your morning routine success? So put that in the comments down below. I want to know what the one thing is that slows you down, that trips you up, that you get a couple days of a good morning routine going, then something happens and it changes. I want to know what those things are. So put those in the comments down below. I'll go ahead and share mine with you now. The number one obstacle to my morning routine success is national championship football games on a Monday night that are late. They keep me up later, ruin my bedtime, and throw off my sleep schedule a little bit. So great game, though. If any of you caught it, I certainly enjoyed the game. I will admit I fell asleep on the couch several times during the game, but I seemed to wake up for all the big plays, so that was good. Definitely got the first quarter, which was super exciting, and then I just started fading off right there because that is past my bedtime. So, again, kind of in and out of sleep there on the couch, and then once I wouldn't say the game was over, about halfway through the fourth quarter, I realized the game was over. Probably should have known before that, but I always had a little faith in Alabama maybe making a comeback. So headed upstairs, and again, the nighttime routine just didn't go like it normally would, simply because it was late, and I chose to watch football. So it was a choice, but definitely threw off my evening routine. And then when I woke up this morning, I was a little groggier than normal, although I still woke up at 5:07 before the alarm. But it took me a little longer to get things moving this morning. So that was my number one obstacle. And the same thing will happen when it comes to March Madness. Same thing will happen when it comes to the NBA Finals. The same thing will happen when it comes to Sunday night, Monday night footballs later in the year. Those are the things that throw me off. I do enjoy watching good sports, even if they're late at night. Sometimes I wish I lived on the West Coast where those things were earlier. I know I've traveled out there a couple times on a Saturday, like a college football Saturday, and you get to watch college football at 9 a.m. And I think that's pretty cool. So maybe I should move west, and then I won't have that problem. So tell me what your number one obstacle to morning routine success is, so we can help you get past that. All right, making sure I have everything rolling here. I do. So listen up. Today we're going to be talking about purposeful hardship in your morning routine. So for some reason my video's not kicking in. Hopefully I'm live. Am I live? Yes, I am. There it is. So purposeful hardship. Fun topic for me. Something I kind of enjoy talking about. And I talk about purposeful hardship in a lot of different senses. I think I talk about it with the kids like constantly. It's always a topic of conversation around our house to make things a little bit harder so that eventually they'll be a little bit easier. It certainly comes up when I'm training the kids, whether it be basketball or just athleticism or whatever it might be. And obviously you have to train and you have to do things that are kind of hard so that they become easy for you and you become a better competitor. But I use them here in morning routines as well. Good morning, Lisa. Good to see you on there. And I think this was for you last year. If I remember, we talked about this. So when it goes to morning routine, sometimes people tell me, they start thinking they need a morning routine. One of the reasons I put it right here is because we are a weekend. And my feeling is, and I talked about habit velocity a couple days ago, reducing friction, having some resistance to your routine. I talked about that a couple days ago to get you ready for today, because I always feel like about day 7, 8, 9 is where I tend to find a lot of people having that resistance, having some trouble, or there's a national championship football game, or there's kids' sports and activities schedules. So those things start to come up, and it starts to make things a little harder on you. So people make this decision to maybe wake up a half an hour earlier. And at some point, it starts to become hard. And you all know how my brain works by now, so I'm off on this different tangent. I talk about it in my on-sites as well. A doctor will be doing something that he or she shouldn't be doing, and the staff says, well, we schedule this way because he is that way. And I'm like, well, you need to stop enabling him. You need to make it harder on him, not easier on him. The easier you make on him, the more he'll keep doing it. But if you actually stop enabling him, it might seem hard for a while, but he'll get used to it. So same thing goes here for waking up early in the morning. If you set that alarm half an hour earlier and it's harder, and you're just like, oh, I don't want to wake up this early, my feeling is try some purposeful hardship. Wake up even earlier for a few days in a row. Seems to make that time seem better. Now you get it. So now if you wake up at, instead of 5:30, you wake up at 5, just a couple days in a row, and you force yourself to do it. And I'll tell you why it almost seems easier in a second here. Then, obviously, when you get that extra half hour sleep, you're actually thankful for it. You actually appreciate it. I learned that topic, I think that word, purposeful hardship, I certainly didn't make it up. I'm not that creative. From somebody talking about fasting. So that purposeful hardship, that going without something for a certain period of time or making things harder for a certain period of time is good exercise anyway. The story that I heard that went along with purposeful hardship was actually just living like a poor person for 30 days. And we tried that last year. We didn't do that well at it food-wise. We were actually trying to, like, he talked about eating just like rice and beans and nothing but it for like 30 days just to appreciate food more. Not just it's a discipline. But when it comes to fasting, like, I just did a 3-day fast to start the month, start the year. And I feel like anytime you're trying to eat better, to do a fast accomplishes two things. One, there's the purposeful hardship. It helps you appreciate food more. It's actually easier, in my opinion, it's easier to eat nothing than it is to eat clean. Like when you say I'm not eating anything and someone offers you something, like your mind automatically goes, no, I don't want it because I'm fasting. When you're eating, but you're trying to eat clean and someone offers you something, you're like, well, if I have that, I can make up for it later. Like there's a decision to be made. Well, when there's fasting, there's no decision to be made. And if you're very clear about your hardship, whether it be fasting or waking up early, it's actually easier to make that decision because it has been made. There's no middle ground in there. So again, I said there's two reasons for it. One, because it makes you appreciate food more. But two, once you do that for a few days and you kind of sacrifice, you have that hardship. Obviously, when you go back to eating, you don't want to ruin the success you had there for fasting. And I feel like the same way here. Like if you put yourself through that hardship of waking up a little earlier, crazy early for a few days in a row, you set your mind that as you continue on, you don't want that to be for nothing. So you continue doing the things that you said you're going to do in the normal way. And there's obviously several other ways you can use that as well. I'm using it now for your morning routine. Obviously, it applies to exercise, fitness, like I said, competitiveness when I'm talking about with kids, anything we want to eat, fasting, all ways you can do some purposeful hardship. And, my staff put together that little thing there that says, the storm before the calm. So making it a little harder so that it seems easier later. Once you go through something like that hardship, the things that you have in mind that you actually want to do seem so much easier, even though maybe before that, it's like, it's so hard to do it. It actually makes it seem easier. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I feel like we make things so easy for ourselves these days anyway. As a society, life has become so easy to do things, although we have so many things to do now, I think, compared to the olden days. God, I sound so old. I think you know what I'm saying. Like, there's so much that we just didn't have back then. So many more other distractions and whatnot. But to accomplish a task is so much easier than it used to be. And sometimes I think it's better to do it the hard way. Whether that's building something with your hands as opposed to just going out and buying it, just to have that discipline and that mental challenge. So try purposeful hardship in your life. If you feel like it, give me some other ideas down below of how you've used purposeful hardship before or how you might want to then. But make sure you answer the question, which is, what's the biggest obstacle? I was making jokes earlier, but Lisa says her challenge is kids, sports, and activity schedule. She's already picked on me about that, saying that I don't have that yet, which is true. My kids are not in that level yet, so we don't play those late games. I can imagine that will make my morning routine tough 6 years from now. But I have 6 years of it being fairly easy just playing on weekends until then. So try purposeful hardship if you're having any trouble with your morning routine. Let me know what your biggest obstacle to your morning routine is, and I will see you tomorrow morning again right here, 7 a.m.